Hello, friends. Welcome to the world of psychology. I'm Mukul. I welcome you in this present session of development psychology. I hope that you had gone through my last few videos about this subject. And in this present video, I'm expecting that you will get some interesting information that you can use further, and it will help you to enrich your knowledge, and also it will help you in your examination. So let's move to our subject. In this session, the learning goal would be research in lifespan development. So all this next 10-15 minutes, I'll be discussing about the different methods for collecting data, what are research designs that we use in our subject, and time span of research, how it affects the various research things. Before moving into our core topics, I would like to discuss with you the concept of research, as without knowing what is research actually is, it will be, I won't feel that you will understand the actual methods of research. So please focus on this method, and please focus on the definition of research. According to Kurlinger, scientific research is systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relations among natural phenomena. Please, these words are very important. Research is a systematic activity. It is not a random haphazard activity. It is a controlled activity, research. It has got an empirical attribute. And lastly, we use critical thinking while investigating any hypothesis that we decide. So, all this characteristic of research makes it a scientific affair and interesting thing. Next is methods of collecting data. So these are five important methods as you can see here: observation, survey and interview, then standardized test, case study, and physiological measures. First, when I tell you about observation, observation here means you can, observation we can divide into two types basically. One is naturalistic observation, in which the focus of our observation is real world setting, real environment. And next is a laboratory observation. In laboratory observation, it's a control setting affair, a control setting in which many of the complex factors of the real world are removed so that we can do observation more systematically and scientifically in it. Next method of collecting data is survey and interview. Basically, I can say that they are the best, and sometimes they're the best and quickest way to get information about people is to ask them for it. So one technique is to interview them directly, and a related method is the survey. Sometimes it is also referred as a questionnaire, which is especially useful when information from many people is needed. And you must have, some of you must have experienced survey method or interview method. Next is standardized test. You all, since you're a student of psychology, you must be aware about IQ test, intelligence test, aptitude test, personality test. So, what makes this test standardized? Basically, a test need to have high reliability, high validity, and proper norms. A standardized test has uniform procedures for administration and scoring. All these attributes makes a test standardized thing. Next method is a case study method. Case study is an in-depth look at a single individual. This method psychology has borrowed from medical science, and Sigmund Freud has popularized this method in psychology. Case studies are performed mainly by mental health professionals when, for other either practical or ethical reasons, the unique aspects of an individual's life cannot be duplicated and tested in other individual. Next is physiological measures. Researchers are increasingly using physiological measures when they study development at different points in the lifespan. In physiological measure, we compare the brain image of, let's say, two adolescents, one a non-drinker and other a heavy drinker, while they are engaged in a memory task. So by comparing the both these images, we can study the developmental issues they are facing. In this, basically, you can discuss the method of MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI. That is quite advanced technique. In this, what we do, we use electromagnetic waves to construct image of a person's brain tissues and biochemical activities. So all these methods are highly useful for collecting data. And whenever question comes in the examination, you should mention all this method. And if possible, even you can quote example in your answer. Next important thing is design of the research. How you design your research. That ultimately impact whole your research activity. In this, we'll see descriptive research, correlational research, experimental research. Important point or differences, you can see that only in experimental research we can find out the cause and effect relation. Otherwise, in descriptive research and correlational research, we do not find this kind of cause and effect relationship. In descriptive research, I mean, just know all of the data collection methods that we have discussed can be used in descriptive research, which aims to observe and record behavior. For example, a researcher might observe the extent to which people are altruistic or aggressive toward each other. By itself, descriptive research cannot prove what causes some phenomena, but it can reveal important information about people's behavior. In correlational research, we the goal is to describe the strength of the relationship between two or more events or characteristic. The more strongly the two events are correlated or associated, the more effectively we can predict one event from the other. For example, to find out whether children of permissive parents have less self control than other children, you would need to carefully record observations of parents' permissiveness and the children's self control. You might observe that The higher a person was in permissiveness, the lower the child was in self control. You would then analyze this data statistically to yield a numerical measure called a correlation coefficient, a number based on a statistical analysis that is used to describe the degree of association between two variables. To study causality, researchers turn to experimental research. As experimental experiment is a carefully regulated procedure in which one or more factors believed to influence the behavior being studied. In experimental research, basically, an individual and independent variable is manipulated. The dependent variable is measured and extraneous variable is controlled. So all these three qualities or these three attributes make an experimental research more scientific, or they are the characteristic of the experimental research. In this, you will find experimental group and control group, and we control both, control and compare both this thing. An experimental group is a group whose experience is manipulated. A control group is a comparison group that is similar to the experimental group as possible and that is treated in every way like the experimental group except for the manipulated factor. The control group serves as a baseline against which the effect of the manipulated conditions can be compared. Random assignment is an important principle for deciding whether each participant will be placed in the experimental group or in the control group. Researchers in lifespan development have a special concern with studies that focus on the relation of age to some other variable. In cross-sectional approach, it's a research strategy that simultaneously compare individuals of different ages. For example, a typical cross-sectional study might include three groups of children: 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds, and 11-year-olds. The groups can be compared with respect to variety of dependent variable, IQ, memory, peer relations, and so on. All of this can be accomplished in a short term. In some studies, data are collected in a single day. The main advantage of the cross sectional study is that the researcher does not have to wait for the individuals to grow up or become older. In longitudinal research or longitudinal approach, it's a research strategy in which the same individual is studied over a period of time, usually several years or more. They provide a wealth of information about vital issues such as stability and change in development and the importance of early experience for later development. But they do have drawbacks like they're expensive and time consuming. Next is your online resources. These are following some important classic case studies in developmental psychology that you should please check it on your own. First is the story of Ginny, the story of David Reamer, the story of Victor, the story of Little Albert and Little Peter. And please, which is your favorite research method in psychology? You discuss this, you talk to your classmates, or you think on your own.